Right, Sandra Fenu is here with the business. Hello, Sandra.
Hi, we have a lot to talk about on the budget, mid-year budget review.
Yeah.
Reactions are still pouring in, so we tell you, especially on the levies, the increments, a lot of Ghanaians are talking.
You take it away, Sandra.
All right, good evening. My name is Sandra S. and I'm here for business. Governance expert Dr. Eric Odro-Osai is charging Ghanaians to demand accountability on the existing energy sector levies introduced by government. In an interview with Ebenezer Sabote, he says there is no justification for the upward adjustment.
The decision by the Minister for Finance to increase the energy sector levy is part of a planned cleanup of the entire energy sector by government. After admitting that it is faced with huge challenges, as part of a plan, government is proposing an increase of 20 pesos per litre for petrol and diesel. This means one should soon expect an increase in fuel prices. Reacting to the developments, Dr. Odro-Osai believes the minister could have done better.
What I was expecting the minister to do is to account for how the ESLA budget has been used in previous years, what kinds of debt they have used it to pay, what is the outstanding debt, and how the increase in the requested increase will help them in paying for those debts.
You think he hasn't accounted for it enough?
Well, I think that there is more to be done in that regard. What Ghanaians should be asking for is how we are using ESLA to pay the existing debt. Rationalization in the energy sector is very good, but we should rationalize it in such a way that it will not affect Ghanaians. But I was happy he mentioned the era of Dumsor is over, and it's something that we are all going to keep an eye on and ensure that once the sector is rationalized, Dumsor should be over forever.
Meanwhile, Deputy Minister for Communications, Soa Odote, assures government is making prudent use of all the funds.
We are saddled with obnoxious PPA agreements, the take or pay, which His Excellency John Mahama signed. So they cannot tell us what to do. In life, you give money to people who have proven that they are prudent, they are efficient and can manage it. They were just wasteful, just wasting our resources. That is why the people of Ghana have given us the mandate. And I can assure you that for us even to exit the IMF should tell you that we are prudent and we know that we have what it takes to manage our own resources.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta also used the occasion to revise the revenue target for the year. Ebenezer Sabote reports for Joy Business.
So, on the mid-year budget review, minority in Parliament is projecting Ghana's debt to GDP could cross the 60% ratio by the end of 2019. Currently, Ghana's total debt stock is about 200 billion Ghana cedis. A development ranking member of Finance, Kasiel Atoheford, fears could cross 220 billion if government's borrowing is not controlled. Ebenezer Sabote again has more in this report.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta yesterday announced new tax measures in the mid-year review and supplementary budget. This is to enable government service its debts as well as honor other projects being undertaken. Presenting their views on yesterday's presentation, ranking member on the Finance Committee, Kasiel Atoheford, warned that the debt level is getting closer to unsustainable levels and must be tackled.
Our projections based on government-owned fiscal data shows that if the trend continues, the accumulation of arrests alone will reach approximately 30% of GDP, which is in cedi terms about 100 million Ghana cedis. 100 billion Ghana cedis.
The minority also claims that the energy sector levy has been mismanaged with about 900 million cedis unaccounted for. Here is member of the Energy Committee, John Jinapo.
I'm saying that there's no justification for the energy sector levy account increment. Because when you look at the 2017 report of the account, an amount of 3.2 billion was collected. Only 2.4 billion was utilized, leaving an unutilized amount of 800 million. When you look at the 2018 one, 3 billion was collected, 2.3 was used, leaving an unutilized amount of 700 million. The combined effect is that we must have a surplus between these 2 years. So we must have an amount of 1.5 billion sitting in the account.
Meanwhile, Parliament has begun debating the proposed tax measures. Ebenezer Sabote reports for Joy Business.
Meanwhile, some Ghanaians have joined the opposition to demand the immediate withdrawal of the 50% increment in communication tax and petroleum prices introduced by government.
Probably it's going to affect us in a whole lot of ways because currently our money is actually down by the dollar rate is also increasing. So if it's actually increasing the transfer rate or our credit rate, it's going to really affect us in a whole lot. So we have to find means and ways to get money and get data because right now all our research are all based on data and everything. So it's really going to affect us.
For about 7 consecutive times. That is, you understand? It's very wrong. It's very wrong. You understand? So anytime that they increase fuel, they have to increase transportation for us so that we also get something to the house. You understand? Sometimes I buy fuel 200 Ghana cedis a day before our close from work. And we are not getting anything. So those drivers, we are suffering a lot because of the fuel. So they shouldn't have to increase the fuel again.
Yeah, see if you watch now, even a position whereby we are spending maybe like 10 to 20 cedis in a week, and if the tariffs of this data is being increased, you'll see that we'll be spending more than what we always spent before. And definitely it will warrant us to like adjust to some other our expenses the way we spend this thing. And it may even cost us to the extent of we might not be able to like, you know, do more research online or check all those things or browse more because of the increment of those things.
I would say this time the Eduma na kofum. The show Uber and then taxi now. Eduma na kofum. Na abayin no sanya to fuem no there. Let's say anoba amayen.
To other stories now, and the cost of cleaning up the financial sector could now reach 21 billion cedis by the end of this year. This is based on a new update from the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta when he presented the mid-year review to Parliament. But does this actually raise questions about the approach used in cleaning up the sector? George Yafe has more in the following report.
The Finance Minister in the presentation said that he was afraid the cost of the financial sector cleanup could reach $3 to $4 billion. Now, if we use the Bank of Ghana's dollar transaction rate for commercial banks of 5 Ghana cedis, 25 pesos, then that could be equal to 21 billion Ghana cedis. This is about 3 billion Ghana cedis more than what Joy Business had projected last month as in what could be the cost of this cleanup. The cost may even be realized before the end of this year, as the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta had told Joy Business that the last batch of reforms, which would target the savings and loan sectors, would happen before the end of September this year. We are, however, learning that this may exclude the estimated cost of any cleanup in the capital and investment space.
Following the cleanup exercise, total assets of the banking sector increased by over 12% between June 2018 and June 2019. Total deposits also increased by over 22% during this period. With the rebound of the sector, banks are now poised to deploy their newly injected capital towards financial intermediation to aid the development process.
But for some, the rising cost raises concerns about whether government should have used this approach. Also, others have argued that the appointed receivers may have to work hard to recover the cost from owners and directors of these liquidated banks. One of the receivers had told Joy Business that they were even struggling to identify assets of the directors and owners of these defunct banks. The 21 billion Ghana cedis are just projections, and again, this amount could increase before the end of this year.
Hello again, you're still watching Joy News Prime. My name is Sandra Esinam Afeno, and let's do the second half of business. So the debate continues after the mid-year review and supplementary budget presentation. But the core of this is government's growing expenditure, with many asking what exactly is government's expenditure and what is the implication. Let's speak to a financial analyst, Dr. Richmond Etuahene. Good evening, sir, and grateful for your time. Doc, let's start with issues with expenditure revenue gap. Now, government actually planned to spend 78 billion cedis, but after yesterday's review, it's going to go up by up to 85 billion Ghana cedis. Doc, do we really need this, and where is the money going to?
Hello.
Hello, doctor. Can you hear me? Thanks for your time.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so I was asking, we want to start with the expenditure revenue, where we know that governments actually planned to spend 78 billion cedis, but after yesterday's presentation, it's going to go up to 85 billion. Now, the question is, do we really need this, and where's the money going to?
Well, for us, we need it. Possibly we say we need it, but not. You can need something, but it's not everything that you need to fulfill. So for me, it's not a question of we needing it. We should look at the times that we are in and look at, was it very, very critical or crucial for our development? I would have thought that they would have slowed down whatever projects they have or whatever the expenditure they have to make. They should have slowed down because the economy has actually slowed down. So I would have thought they would have slowed down and continue with what they have and see if they can expand their tax base rather than now taxing everything and every item.
So then will you say it's not economically wise?
Well, looking at the situation that we have at the moment, I would say that it's not very, very, very critical because I won't say wise, but I won't say it is very, very crucial or critical because I would have thought that we should expand the tax net rather than taxing the areas where we think it's easy to tax. And normally is petroleum and the communication. And I would have thought that there's a lot of informal sector, which with these digital address systems and NI, national identification, if they can get all those things round so that we can bring a lot of people into the tax net rather than continue to tax the petroleum, and immediately you tax the petroleum, the implication is high. It affects farm products, it affects everything. So I would have thought that they would have slowed down and let us see what the economy would have been for the time being.
Having said that, with an increase in expenditure and low revenue, what are the likely implications on our debt?
Yeah, definitely. If you just read what he said it from domestic and foreign financing. If it's domestic, if you cannot raise taxes, then it means you're going to borrow. And if you look at what he said yesterday on the debt, we are now about 204 billion, 59.1% of the GDP. We're almost at the threshold set by the World Bank and IMF. They said 60. But the way we are going, we possibly would exceed the limits, the limits that has been set by the World Bank and IMF. So I think it's very, very crucial, very, very crucial that they have to be very careful. The debt is going astronomically. The pace the debt is going, we need to be very, very critical about it because it looks like we are not managing the debt at all. We are just borrowing. And we have to be very careful for the future. You know, if you borrow now and it does not go into productive sector that will generate the foreign exchange to pay future, then we are borrowing to consume. And that is a very dangerous phenomenon, which is not good for the future generation.
Doc, you spoke about widening the tax nets. Why has it become extremely difficult for governments to look for other sources of making revenue than just relying on the communication and all that you spoke about earlier?
You see, when I heard about when Dr. Bawumia said that addressing system is going to be digitized, I mean, the World Bank, the former World Bank rep in Ghana, before he left, he made a very, very important contribution concerning property tax in Ghana, which is very, very, very low. So he suggested that if we can have all these addressing systems, road numbers and roads, what have you, I believe we will be able to even tax, if we were taxing even average of 200-300 cedis a year on various houses. I'm just giving a rough estimate.
Right.
Look at the houses in Kumasi, look at houses in Accra, look at houses in Sunyani, that would have brought in a lot of money. But unfortunately, we are not taking a holistic view. We like the easy soft spot. I mean, the last time it was cars with a 2-point-something liter taxes. It is cheap way of doing it. I would have thought, take your time, systematically, even if it takes 1 year. Let us have these address system and begin to let people know that if we there is no jurisdiction in the world where property taxes are not there. But the way it's going now, because it's easy to put it on fuel, because it's easy to go on communication, then we slam it on. But that also hits the consumer. It hits the farmer. It hits the travelers, the market women, the food prices. And it's all about it. Communication. Yes, we agree. It's an expanding area. But is it the way we want to tax it to kill it? I mean, these are the things that we should take a long-term view, like these houses and these national identity, or what they call it, the ID, the what do you call them? The
national identification.
Identification. The way they are rushing, as if somebody is chasing them. The way they are rushing. I mean, they say they have done Accra. Accra, I'm telling you, my area, not less than they did about 40%. And if you did 40%, there is no identification.
Right.
Let me even add something. If you go to America with your Social Security, it's your national identity. Try it where it be. If your number is keyed in, wherever you are, you'll be found. So let us have one identity.
All right.
So that we can include tax inclusive.
All right, Doctor, quickly before we go, the banking sector cleanup would have cost us some 20 billion Ghana cedi by the time we are done with the cleanup. Now, the finance minister is saying that it has actually boosted confidence in the sector. Actually, the confidence in the sector has been restored. Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. I'm very happy you're bringing this issue. He is talking only about one leg. If you have borrowed over 20 billion to support bail out the bank, how much have you retrieved? Yesterday, I thought he was going to talk about the strategy they're going to retrieve those who have squandered the money. I mean, if we are prosecuting, like Maurice Hamper said yesterday, if we are prosecuting NAM1, why have we left those who have squandered these 21 billion walking free? The president said the other time that the names are ready. We are almost at the end of the year. No names have been, and no money is being recovered. So for me, telling me that you build, you just borrow to build. And that is the easiest way of doing things. Look at the way you collect the amount you have used in bailing out. How long is it going to tell them to charge them? NAM1 is now charged with fraud. Why can't the same methodology used to charge all those who had caused us this 21 billion? And the 21 billion have added, if you take 21 billion or the 20 billion from the debt, we should have been about 180. It's about 180. So is he going to borrow to come and build?
Right.
I mean, he should have told us the strategy. He should have told the parliament that this is the way I'm going to retrieve all those money that I've used in bailing the bank. And they were glorifying themselves in consolidating a bank. When you have clustered a bank, people who have taken money are walking free. You take glorification in what? What? I mean, we shouldn't be, they're creating this problem for the future generation.
All right, Doctor, I think we have to leave it here. I know you have a lot to say on that. We'll be engaging in our subsequent bulletins. That was Dr. Richmond Etuahene. He is a financial analyst to the commodity markets now. Crude oil gained 54 cents to trade at $64.25 a barrel. Gold went for $1,429.51 an ounce. The update of the commodity market is next. That's all for business with me, Sandra Essen. I'm up in there's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Do have a great evening.